Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited. I have a massive book haul to share with you. But before hopping into it, if you're new here, hello, my name is Emily and this is MacInnis Mama, where you will find mostly bookish content, but the occasional gardening style video, as I am passionate about both reading as well as learning to grow food for my family. So if that is something that interests you, I would love it if you would subscribe before you leave. Now let's hop into the book haul. I do not have too long to chat about all of these books. This has been accumulating for many months, though a large chunk of them I bought during the 50-mile yard sale, which is an event hosted around me, and I bought a lot of books. Anything that I recognize, I just picked up. They were like $1 each for a paperback, and that's an amazing deal. The majority of those were at my favorite charity stop, so if I don't like them or I decide I don't want to read them, I still feel like it's $1 well spent, and I'll just give it back to them and they can resell it to somebody else for $1 and all the money goes to charity. Not that big of a deal. I also have some books that were gifted to me and loaned to me I'm going to share with you. I do not have full synopsises for all of these books, but you will be seeing them in upcoming TBRs, reading vlogs, that sort of thing. As always with my hauls, if there is something that you really want me to get to very soon, please do leave that in the comments below and I will try my best to read it ASAP. I'm going to try to group these books in a way that makes sense. If you saw my thumbnail, you know it's pretty intense. This is my TBR shelf, and these are all of the books I've bought recently. Yes, there is a lot. I'm going to start off with some of the newer books that have arrived just because those are most fresh in my mind, or maybe I have a touch of a story to tell. Firstly, my husband surprised me with 2 deliveries off of my Amazon wish list. I do have my Amazon wish list in my description box. No pressure at all to buy me books, but I have lots of books on there I would love to read. Hooked by Emily McIntyre is actually on KU as well, but I really think I'm going to love this. This is a dark Peter Pan retelling, but I think it's more contemporary than fantasy, and it has to do like a dark romance involving Hook. I'm really excited about this. I think it's like her dark fairy tale series. She does multiple villains. It's like where the villain gets the girl. Ironically, these weren't even side by side on my wish list, and my husband didn't mention anything about it. It just so happened that he also got me Darling Girl by Liz Michalski. I'm the worst. This is also a Peter Pan retelling, but this is more fantasy, whereas this is dark romance. I actually don't know that much about this book, except it's a reimagining of a classic, the infamous Peter Pan, who is not the innocent adventurer the fairy tales make him out to be. One woman must take on Peter Pan to save her daughter's life. So maybe this is more thriller-like. I'm even more excited for this now. While chatting about books gifted to me off my Amazon wish list, I am going to share Hellfire by Muriel Pomeroy. She is the book daddy on Instagram. I follow her there, and that's why I added her book to my wish list. This was kindly gifted to me from Leanne, and I will link Leanne's Instagram in my description box as well. She has become a great friend of mine. We have talked quite a lot, both about project panning on my beauty channel and being in the Sam Squad Facebook group, and we both like to read. So it's a lot of fun when you can connect with somebody on multiple levels. This is a very dark fantasy romance, and that's all I know about it. It's spicy, dark, and I am so excited to read this as soon as I can. Now moving on to the newest books I purchased myself, like new, not thrifted. I did get Gleam by Raven Kennedy. This is the 3rd book in the Plated Prisoner series. I have started this book. I bought this as it was my punishment book for my September TBR, and the Plated Prisoner series was pulled off of KU, which is where I was reading it. Since starting this, it is now back on KU, so oh well, I now have the physical book. I also have the first book of the series, but not the second, because these paperbacks are a little more pricey, but this is a dark fantasy romance series as well, involving Fae, King Midas retelling. Really enjoying the series so far. I said I wasn't going to talk about every book, but here I am. I also picked up Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. This is a very angsty, toxic romance series, and I'm so excited to get to it. I really wanted to read it in August or September and just never got around to it because I have since seen very mixed reviews. There's 5-star reviews, there's 1-star reviews, all from people that I love and trust. So I have no idea where I'm going to fall, and that makes me hesitant to pick it up. Also, this is like an emotionally damaging book, I'm pretty sure, and I just have not been in the headspace to deal with bookish trauma. I picked up Ruthless Fate, the second book in the Zodiac Academy series, written by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. I didn't love the first book, but everyone says you need to read the first 3 books, and after that, it's incredible. They get bigger and bigger. Do I want to force myself to read 2 more unenjoyable books to get to an incredible fantasy, romance, magical school series? Here I am. Apparently the answer is yes. These are also on KU, but I have the first book physically, so I just bought the second book. Didn't need to do that, but here we are. I finally bought and finished Kingdom of Ash. This is the last book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. I have had the other books in the series for a long time, except for this one, and I just didn't prioritize even buying it, even though I loved this series. I read it for the first time, start to finish, this year, but I didn't want it to end. But I have read it, and it was such a good conclusion to the series. I hope Sarah J. Maas writes a spin-off with some of the other characters. I think that would be amazing. This is incredible. It's chunky. I'm happy to be like sharing a book in a haul that I actually read already. Now let's move into some books that were lent to me. My stepmom and my mom both lent me some books to read. Firstly, my stepmom lent me a bunch of Kristen Hanna books. I mentioned to her that I wanted to start reading some of her books. I actually did buy Winter Garden myself. This is one of those $1 books that I saw. And I believe Kristen Hanna is like a historical or literary fiction, depending on the book, which is not a genre I ever read. So maybe I can do a Kristen Hanna reading vlog or a testing out historical fiction reading vlog, because I have another 1 or 2 in this pile. This is overwhelming. So let me know what you want to see, but I did buy this one. This one's mine. No idea what most of these are about. These are ones I'm not going to have a synopsis for, but my stepmom lent me The Great Alone, which I think this is going to be like a November book. It just gives me like fall coming into wintry vibes. This is set in Alaska. Then I have Night Road, which is an underrated favorite for many people who have read a lot of Kristen Hanna. This is not by far one of her most popular books. The Great Alone and The Nightingale probably are, but apparently this book is incredible. No idea what it's about. And lastly, Fire Lane. My stepmom said that this one is a bit different than the other Kristen Hanna, so I'm not really sure what that means, but it has a Netflix sticker on it, so maybe I can read this and watch the adaptation. But I am excited to read these. These seem like cozy fall wintry books to me, but again, I know those are going to be emotionally traumatic, so I don't know if my mental health can take that right now. My stepmom also, she said I could just keep this one. This is Grown Ups by Marian Keyes. It is blurbed by Leanne Moriarty and Jojo Moyes, but I have literally no idea what this is about. It's about a glamorous family comic, convincing and true, how to make serious issues relatable. Literally no idea. I think this is just like general women's fiction. My stepmom didn't want it anymore. I love to read. She said, here's some Krista Hanna books. I want those ones back. Here's another one I read. You can keep it. So this isn't going to be a priority, but we're hauling it anyways. Then my mom lent me one book, returned a book, and then bought a book, read it, and told me I could keep it. This is getting very confusing and doesn't really matter. Love on the Brain by Allie Hazelwood. I bought the Love Hypothesis, read it, loved it, gave it to my mom to read. She read it, loved it. And then this is the new release. Again, adult romance, women in STEM, nerdy, spicy books. And my mom said she liked it, but it is very, very similar to the Love Hypothesis. So I think I'm going to wait a little bit to read this. Maybe this will be like a good February book and I have more months in between. I don't mind if an author has kind of like a formulaic, like lighthearted type of books that all have the same vibe. I like that, but I'm not going to want to read them close together because I think I'll just constantly be comparing this. I gave the Love Hypothesis 5 stars, which I'm sure I'm going to like this one too, but if it's too similar, I think it's going to lessen my enjoyment if I read them close together, if that makes sense. Then I have the third and fourth book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. I have Ruin by John Gwynne. I did buy this. I haven't read it yet. I know. And my mom has finished the series. So she took this from me because I was taking too long to get to it. Third book in the Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne. And then she went out and bought Wrath, read it, and then brought me both of these at the same time to my house. My mom doesn't live close to me. Not that that's relevant, but that's why we hoard books and then trade them in that way. And this is the conclusion to the Faithful and the Fallen series. Epic, high adult, fantasy, dark, prophecy. Gave Malice and Valor, the first 2 books, 5 stars. I think I'm going to absolutely love these books, but they are so chunky and intimidating that when I'm looking at, should I pick up Ruin or should I pick up this cozy rom-com? Guess which one I'm always picking? Yeah. Finishing out a dark romance series. I had bought Flock quite a while ago at the very beginning of the year, I think. This is the Ravenhood series by Kate Stewart. So Exodus is the second book. The Finish Line is the third book, and the conclusion. I did read both of these. I finished this series. This was an amazing series. It ended really well, though this one was less exciting. I think my enjoyment of this is like Flock is my favorite, Exodus is my middle favorite, and The Finish Line is my least favorite, but they're all still amazing books. I actually have a vlog reading this one. This is dark romance. I can't really tell you anything about this series without spoiling it, but if you are into darker themes, give it a try. It's available on KU as well. I'm trying to organize these a little bit. So I have The Titan's Curse, which is book 3 in the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. I have books 1, 2, and 5, so I still need book 4. I've just been picking these up at yard sales as I find them. My oldest son, Max, is 11. I have never read this series, so I probably will at some point too, but these are more for him. And then 2 other middle grades. I finally found, again, Thrifted, Ink Heart and Ink Death. I found the second book in this series quite a long time ago, honestly. And how cool is this? This is actually an ARC copy, and it's a weird size of Ink Heart, which came out in like the early 2000s, I think. But I just thought this was so cool. Publication date October 2003. I just think it's amazing. It's for ages 11 to 15. It's just a weird size. It's an special ARC copy. I just grabbed that up. Again, it was like 50 cents. 2 more fantasy books I have Clockwork Angel. I got this for $1. This is the first book in the Infernal Devices. I have never read this series by Cassandra Clare. I've only read the first 5 of the Mortal Instruments, and I do want to continue. I have quite a few of her books up there. I'm getting them for super cheap. I don't care if they're great quality. I don't think that I would keep these once I read them, so I'll get them from the library. But again, if they're on sale for $1, I'll just grab it. And then this is quite a beat up copy, but I loved the cover. This is The Great Hunt by Robert Jordan, the second book in the Wheel of Time series. Do I have the first book? No. Will I be able to find all of the same edition? Also, probably no, but I grabbed it because it was for charity. I have 2 more historical fiction books. I have All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is the Bookish Mama, or Allison's favorite book of all time. I've been eyeing it every time I see it. Never bit the bullet, but finally did. And then I have The Alice Network by Kate Quinn. I've heard nothing but good things about this one as well. And again, this isn't my typical genre, but for cheap, I snagged it. Now we're going to hop into some paranormal romance. I have 2 books by Sherilyn Kenyon. I heard about this author from Books with Monet. Fantasy Lover is the first book you're supposed to read, but Born of Fire is just some random book in the series. Again, this is one I'm hoping to just like piecemeal get and slowly pick these up as I can. I'm sure if somebody around me is donating these to this charity shop, they probably have more somewheres and I will eventually find them. And then I found 2 more Cressley Cole books. I have quite a number of her books as well. Still haven't read any of them, but when I see them, I've been picking them up because I heard great things about these. I have Shadow's Claim and McReeve. I don't know where these fit in the series. These are very extensive paranormal or fantasy romance series. Same with the Sherilyn ones, and it will take me a long time to figure out how to even read these. All right, we had a brief intermission. I got Wyatt off the bus, got a coffee, which is much needed. I believe we were chatting about paranormal romances, which I'm very excited to dive into more this fall. I found the first 8 books in J.R. Ward's Black Dagger Brotherhood series. I don't know how many are in the series, but these are like old school covers and they're not in great condition. But again, if I don't love them, I will just redonate them. That's fine. I believe this is a vampire romance series. And then I found all of these Patricia Briggs books. I had never heard of this author before, but these also seem to be a paranormal romance series, or maybe multiple. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think these 7 go together, and I think Masks and Wolfsbane and Steal the Dragon go together, and I believe The Hobbs Bargain is a standalone. Again, I really need to do my research on what order these go, but I tried to just put them in order as best I could for this video. We have Mercy Thompson novels, which she is a female mechanic from what I gather. I think there are werewolves, and this says it's an alpha and omega novel, so like, are these Omegaverse? I've never read Omegaverse. Like, I literally have no idea, but I love the covers on these, and they're super short, so I just thought that these would be a fun time. I think I missed this when I was talking about like historical fiction. This is Diane Chamberlain's The Dream Daughter, and this has a touch of magical realism or time travel in here. I think this is the one where she's living in the 70s and she is pregnant with her daughter, and she has some sort of condition that needs to be fixed in utero, but obviously in the 70s this technology did not exist, and somehow she time travels to a more current timeline where they are able to give her daughter the surgery that she needs in order to survive. I know this is a hard-hitting book, and I'm excited for it. I first heard about this when I was pregnant with Emmett, and I knew I could not handle it then, but he's 2.5 now, so hopefully I'll be fine. We are nearing the end. This is so many books. I want to try historical romance. I do have a few Cressley Cole, which would fall into historical romance. And I mean, I read fantasy romance, which is kind of historical, but not like traditionally historical. I don't know. I plan on doing a vlog on seeing if I like historical romance. So I picked these up in a free library, like where you trade books, and this is at a campground. This is Stephanie Lauren's The Designs of Lord Randolph Kavanagh. This is the Kavanagh's Volume 1. Literally never heard of this author, this book. It doesn't have very many ratings on Goodreads, so I have no idea if it's good or not. I think this is my first historical with a step back. Is that true? I think that is true. Those ones do not have step backs, so that's fun. And then I got this Sylvia Day one. I think this is a standalone. I know she has many series. This is Pride and Pleasure, The Price of Seduction, and this is set in the 1800s. Other than that, no idea what it's about. We're going to end this huge fall book haul with thrillers. I have been enjoying thrillers more and more, though it's still not one of my top genres. I still have a ton of thrillers on my TBR shelf that I have never read before, and yet I bought a lot more. What is it that they say? That reading books and buying books are two different hobbies? Here we are. I need to read more thrillers this fall in order to justify having so many. Thrillers, unless it blows me away, I give it 5 stars, are typically ones I will read and then unhaul just because, I mean, once you know the twists, they're less fun on reread. I'm realizing going outside for the bus has made my hair look even worse than usual. Okay, first from Lisa Jewell, I have The Family Upstairs. This is very popular. I see it all the time. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if it's super highly rated, but I know a lot of people have read it and a lot of people have talked about it. So when I saw it, I grabbed it. All of these thrillers I bought secondhand. Then I have A Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. For some reason, I thought this was fantasy romance at first, just based on the cover, though it does look spooky now that I'm looking at it a bit more. And it says right on the cover that it won a thriller award. So apparently I'm an idiot. I bought it anyways because I have heard of this book before. I have it as want to read on Goodreads, and I've seen very high reviews from people I follow for this book. I don't know what really any of these thrillers are about because I like going into my thrillers that way. I bought 2 more Harlan Cobens. Well, actually, I got this from the free library on the weekend as well. This is Fool Me Once, one of his more popular ones, apparently, and then I have Tell No One. I also have 3 other Harlan Coben books on my TBR shelf. I've never read from him, but people love his books, so I just keep hoarding them. Another very popular author, I have Sherry Lapina. This is Someone We Know. Ooh, I hate this sticker even more than like the Netflix one. This just says she has a new book coming out July 2021. Okay. Leafy suburban upstate New York. A teenager has been sneaking into houses. This is a chunky one. Karen Slaughter. Again, I haven't read a ton of thrillers, but I do know a lot of the big names when I see them, and I quickly looked on Goodreads. This one has amazing reviews as well. The Good Daughter. 2 girls are forced into the woods at gunpoint. One runs for her life. One is left behind. 2 more books. We're almost there. I have The One by John Mars. This is a thriller involving, they invented some sort of technology where you can find your soulmate based on those like blood tests, like the Ancestry.com type tests. But if you are looking at it genetically, like people are paired up with like a serial killer and things like that. Like it doesn't go well. So like, what is the risk of knowing who your genetic soulmate actually is? Seems very creepy. And lastly, I have The Night Olivia Fell by Christina McDonald. A Search for the Truth, A Lifetime of Lies. Big Little Lies meets Reconstructing Amelia. I still haven't read Big Little Lies, even though it's on my shelf. Story of my life. Again, don't really know what this is about, but I know that it is popular. Again, popular in the sense that a lot of people read it. I don't know if it has good reviews. I need to drink my coffee now. My throat is actually hurting. That is so many books. I can't believe I bought this many books. So as I'm sure you could tell, only the first couple in the beginning are ones I bought full price or new, and a lot of the others were 50 cents, $1, 3 for $5, those sorts of deals at the yard sale. And then I got a couple in that free library. We're going back in a couple of weeks to the campground, and I'm going to take a few more books and do some trading because there's actually good books in that one. I've gone to a lot of those free libraries where that's not the case. People just put absolute trash in there that nobody wants to read. But yeah, let me know what books you think I should read. What series do you think I should start? Like I got that Patricia Briggs, J.R. Ward, more Cressley Cole. I have like 15 Cressley Cole books and I've never read one of her books before. I need to stop rambling. My voice is telling me I need to stop. Thank you guys so much for watching this huge fall book haul. I'm excited to read so many of these books, all of these books really, and I want to read them all right now, but obviously that can't happen. But if you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up so that I know, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!